ask everyone watching this to rate their own intelligence, and most will land themselves above average, which isn't actually possible since average is the middle and most people can't be above it at once. Here's the part that stings. The people furthest from average are usually the last to notice because the exact skill needed to catch the gap is the one they're missing. This video isn't really asking if you're smart, it's asking whether you'd even be able to tell if you weren't. 8 signs, and the one that changes everything is saved for last. Sign 1. You finish something good, a report, a project, a presentation, and your first feeling isn't pride, it's suspicion, like you got away with something. In 1978, psychologists Pauline Clance and Shin Imes at Georgia State University interviewed over 150 high-achieving women, professors, physicians, executives, right at the top of their fields, expecting to hear confidence. Instead, they heard the same private belief on repeat, that none of it was real, that they'd simply fooled everyone smart enough to actually deserve the title. Clance and Imes called it the impostor phenomenon, and the research since has found it tracks almost nothing about someone's actual ability. If anything, it shows up hardest in the people with the most evidence stacked against it. Sign 2. Quick, before you think about it. A bat and a ball cost $1.10 together. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much is the ball? If 10 cents just landed in your head, you're in enormous company. Check the math, and the bat alone would cost $1.10, which breaks the whole problem. The real answer is 5 cents. This is called the cognitive reflection test, created by MIT researcher Frederick, and when it was handed to thousands of students at Harvard, MIT, and Princeton, roughly half got that exact question wrong, because they never paused to check their first answer. Going blank, needing a beat before you speak, that pause is the slower system taking the wheel from the fast one. So here's the real question. The last time your gut handed you a fast, confident answer, did you actually check it before it left your mouth, or did you already say it out loud? Sign 3. Picture someone with an essay due in 3 days, who spends the first 2 reorganizing a bookshelf, deep cleaning a kitchen drawer, and watching one video that turns into 40, and then writes the strongest paragraph of the semester at 1 in the morning the night before it's due. Researchers Shin and Adam Grant at the University of Wisconsin and the University of Pennsylvania ran an experiment where people were tempted with funny videos while they were supposed to be solving business problems. The ones who procrastinated a little, not a lot, and not at all, came back with the most creative solutions in the room. The delay wasn't wasted time. Their brains kept quietly restructuring the problem the whole time they thought they were avoiding it. So think about the last thing you put off until the deadline forced your hand. Was your brain really doing nothing with it that whole time, or was it working on it somewhere you just couldn't see? Sign 4. You're in a meeting catching maybe 6 words out of 10, and 40 minutes later you surface with a fully formed plan for something completely unrelated, a plan you didn't even know you'd been building. Psychologist Daniel Levinson and his team at the University of Wisconsin-Madison found that mind-wandering actually increases when a task gets easier, and it increases most in the people with the highest working memory. Drifting off during something simple doesn't usually mean your attention broke. It means your mental hardware finished the task early and went looking for something worth doing with what was left over. The mind doesn't wander because it's empty. It wanders because there's room to spare. So the real question, the last time you caught yourself drifting out of something boring, did you actually check where you'd gone? Or did you just feel guilty and snap back without noticing you were probably mid-thought on something that mattered? Sign 5. It's 1 in the morning and you're running the same 90 seconds of a conversation on a loop, rewriting your own lines like a director unhappy with a scene that already wrapped. At Lakehead University, a team led by psychologist Alexander Penney tested students on verbal intelligence, then asked how much they worried and turned things over in their minds afterward. And the students who scored highest on verbal intelligence were also doing the most worrying. Penney's explanation, sharper verbal processing means you pick up more detail from a conversation in the moment, which simply leaves more material sitting there afterward for your mind to keep reviewing. So think about it honestly. The last time you replayed something, did you actually catch a detail on the fourth pass that you completely missed the first time it happened? Sign 6. 12 people in a room are nodding along to something nobody actually understands, and you're the one who raises a hand and says, "Wait, can you back up?" A second later, you can feel the whole room quietly exhale. Duke University psychologist Mark Leary ran a series of studies on intellectual humility, plainly how willing someone is to admit their own understanding might be incomplete, and found it lines up with curiosity, openness, and a sharper eye for which arguments actually hold up under pressure. The people most willing to admit a gap in their own understanding turn out to be, on the data, the ones best positioned to close it. So think about the last meeting where you were quietly lost. Did you actually say something, or did you nod along with everyone else and hope it would click later? Sign 7, and this is the one that trips people up the most. Picture 2 rooms. In the first, it's trivia night, and you're blanking on the capital of a country you've actually visited, while your friend answers before the host even finishes the question. In the second room, 6 months later, there's a genuine mess, a contract dispute, a family disagreement, something with no clean answer, and you're the one people quietly pull aside to make sense of it. Over decades of research at the University of Illinois, psychologist Raymond Cattell built the case that intelligence isn't one thing, but 2. Crystallized intelligence, the facts you've already stored away, and fluid intelligence, your ability to reason through something you've genuinely never seen before. His research found the 2 run on largely separate tracks. Struggling with one tells you almost nothing about the other. So think about the last time you blanked on something everyone else seemed to know instantly. Now think about the last time someone brought you an actual mess to untangle. Which one says more about you? Sign 8, and it's the one that quietly explains all the others. Your friends want a one-word verdict. Was he right? Is this a good idea? Yes or no? And you're the friend who says, well, it's complicated. Not because you're dodging the question, but because there are 4 versions of the story running in your head at once, and you're the only one still watching all 4. For 20 years, psychologist Philip Tetlock, now at the University of Pennsylvania, tracked roughly 300 experts making thousands of predictions about politics and the economy. The confident ones, the hedgehogs, who filtered everything through one big theory, were consistently outperformed by the foxes, the ones who held several ideas at once and kept revising as new information came in. So next time someone accuses you of overthinking a simple question, ask yourself something. Was it ever actually simple, or were you just the only one in the room being honest about how complicated it was? Here's the real 9th sign, and it's not on this list. It's finishing all 8 of these, recognizing every single one, and still walking away completely certain that not one of them is you. Tell me which one actually got you. And if one did, hit subscribe because there's a lot more like this coming. Goodbye.